Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. This is the IFAST podcast number
12.
12.
Yes.
XII.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Doesn't.
And apparently we have
Semi-sponsorship.
a semi-official sponsor. So I mentioned this last time, the Propel Water thing, and we got a gift.
We did.
From. I will try to say this as well as I can. This is from Jared Villafuerte.
That's right.
So I hope I said that right, Jared. In all seriousness, sent us about
Like 10 cases.
10 cases of Propel Black Cherry water. So thank you, Jared. We truly appreciate that. And through your kindness, maybe the fine folks at Gatorade and Propel will catch on and maybe sponsor this sucker. So anyway, we truly appreciate it. I truly appreciate it because this is the stuff that I suck down during the day. So this is kind of cool.
Yeah, there's literally 10 cases of water stacked next to your desk.
Right next to my desk.
We're good.
So yeah, and I share, so fear not.
Yeah.
All right, what is our topic du jour?
Well, I think it's going to fit with our theme of water and hydration. But today, we are going to talk about the other 23 hours.
Oh, I like this.
Because I think a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers, we can do our best work for that 2 to 3 hours a week. We have a client or athlete in the gym.
Yep.
And then they are released into the world for the other 165 hours of the week.
Did you calculate that out yourself?
Well, I do enjoy math. But yeah, I mean, it's like, let's be honest. We can do a lot of good stuff in 3 hours, and they can do a lot of bad stuff in the 165 outside of the gym.
Or really
good stuff. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. No, this is great. I like this topic.
Good.
So
good.
Lead us on.
Yes. So my first thought, and whenever I get a new client or a new athlete, obviously the training is the easiest in way, right? They know that they want training of some sort, maybe not how it's going to look or how it's going to feel, but they know they need training. But what I try and explain to them is there's essentially 4 pillars to a balanced lifestyle, to getting the most out of your body, your mind, whatever they're looking to get the edge on. And those 4 are training, nutrition, recovery, and mindset.
Awesome.
So I figured we could touch on each of those.
Absolutely.
In a little bit of fashion. And we're going to actually save training for last, because we're not going to talk training in the sense of let's go in the gym and crush it, but maybe some other ways and other strategies that we use training to facilitate some of these other things. So let's start with nutrition. And I'm going to throw this back at you because when we opened IFAST, we are not dietitians, nor do we claim to be. We do have an amazing dietitian if we ever need to refer, though. It's my wife.
No bias.
No bias.
No, she's done a great job.
She's been great. But a lot of fat loss clients want something basic, and they need something basic.
Yep.
So I remember many discussions when we opened about the Green Faces diet.
Yep.
Would you fill our wonderful listeners in on what the Green Faces diet is?
I think I'm trying to remember who we stole this from. It was either Alan Cosgrove or Tom Incledon, or both.
Okay.
And so I'd gladly give either of those guys credit because obviously they're both stellar humans.
Yes.
But yeah, it's basically to make everything as simple as possible.
Yes.
And if you're especially if you're in a pickle, you're trying to make decisions. You're trying to decide, okay, what's the best thing to do. And so when we say green faces, so green would imply that it's something that grew from the ground. Right. So that would be your vegetable category, and then something that used to have a face, which means that it would be some form of animal.
Right.
If you eat animals. And so it just simplifies things to the nth degree.
Yes.
Right. Where it comes down to so many people would look at and say, oh, well, you divide your plate into this, this, and this, and it's like, well, this is even simpler. It's like, okay, have some form of protein and have some vegetable, and that is a meal.
Yes.
That is your meal. And so on a regular basis, if you were to eat in that fashion, and in fact, you could probably eat a great deal more food in general from a volumetric standpoint. That people are always looking for satiety and things like that. It's like it just simplifies it to the nth degree when you're trying to make decisions, because the thing that people get overwhelmed by is the detail.
Yes.
Because you could go anywhere now because information is so prolific, and you have this diet and that diet, and so what the people need to realize is when you have so many different perspectives that appear to work, what that means is that the human physiology is incredibly adaptable to just about anything.
Right.
And so really you just need to start somewhere with a process, and so the green faces just gives us the ultimate minimalism, right, and decision making capability to move forward. So we do something, versus getting paralyzed by this overwhelm of information that may not even matter.
Yeah, which how many times have we seen that?
Oh my gosh, like every time.
3 months they're on keto, and then the next 3 months they're on paleo, and then 3 months later they're on whatever, the cookie diet.
Right, it's the equivalent of program jumping.
Yes.
Like the next great program, this is the one that's going to be the one.
Right.
You know, rather than, like I said, sticking to a process.
Yeah. And the best part about green faces, not that this is the only way that you can or should eat, again, we're not dietitians, but it's so easy to batch and meal prep.
Yeah.
You know, how many chicken breasts can you lay on a 9x13 pan, you know, or ceramic cooking, whatever. You can tell I do a lot of the meal prep in our house. Or, you know, like huge plates of veggies. Like you can basically make an entire week's worth of meals in about 30 minutes. Yeah. That's start to finish, prep, everything.
Yeah. No, it's really simple. So let me make it even simpler. So again, not my idea, totally got this from someone else, and I wish I could give them credit, but it's been so long since I heard this. Let's just say that you work out 3 hours a week, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you go in and you do your hour in the gym, and then people say, well, I don't have time for meal prep. And what I would offer is that you probably do. So take that hour, so that Monday, Wednesday, Friday hour, where does that occur on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday? And then that's your meal prep time. So really, if you just had a regular daily schedule where you took the responsibility to train yourself, then take the responsibility to do the meal preparation at the same time. And so you're literally just taking your workout hour for that non-workout day, and that's when you do your meal prep. And so you can do that a couple times a week. And that way, you know, the one thing that back in the olden days, back when we used to do the meal prep and you put them in all of your containers and you put it in the fridge, sometimes by the second or third day, you know, the chicken's a little, you know,
chewy,
dried out. And so you want it relatively fresh food, you know, and so that way when you're doing your meal prep twice a week, then you never really get to that day.
Yeah.
And then if you're one of those people that need variety, some people like variety. Most people don't like variety, which is actually a really important thing to point out. But for those people that like variety, it gives you an opportunity to prepare something different.
Sure. Yeah. So let's go one more round in this area here. So you obviously made a massive change in your own physique. Yeah. You know, leading up to your 50th birthday. And you know, strategies are great, but let's talk behaviors. What behaviors did you have to change to go from where you were to where you're at now? Because the best thing is, it's not like you just looked great on your 50th, got these photos shot, and then you went right back to, you know, 49-year-old Bill. Like, you maintain this. So what behaviors changed to make that happen?
Honestly, the number one thing is predecision.
Okay.
Right? Yes. So everything is already decided.
Yes.
And so then you don't have to make any decisions, and that requires a little bit of supplementary behaviors as far as having the right foods in the house, kind of a thing, or so if I take the gorgeous one out to dinner or something like that, it's not a matter of me looking at the menu and deciding what I would like to have. It's basically, before we go to dinner, I know what I'm going to eat. I just have to locate it on the menu. Okay. And so again, everything becomes pre-decided. So what time are you going to eat? What quantity are you going to eat? What foods are you going to eat? If everything is pre-decided, one, I don't have to expend the energy to battle the decision, because that's where most people fail. And this is going to be important when we talk about the other aspects of this 23 hours, is because energy is everything. So if I am lacking anywhere in my programming and my personal behaviors, and I don't have enough energy, that's where we lose the battles.
Yes,
in support of our intent and whatever. I try not to rely on goals. I try to rely on processes versus goals, because the goal never really gets there, because it's always ongoing anyway. What are you going to do? You're going to stop, working out and eating and things. So again, I say the predecision is number one. So basically, what I did is I kind of looked at the big picture and I said, okay, so what behaviors do I need to lock in on a regular basis, and focus in on those? And so then I just focused on daily behaviors. I didn't look long term. I started I don't know. Do we need to announce a technical difficulty?
Oh, that's fine. I can just patch it up.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
What did I leave on?
Before your 49th birthday.
Oh. So, before my 50th birthday.
Before your 50th birthday.
Yeah. So I just looked at all the behaviors that I needed to modify, which thankfully weren't too many.
Right.
And it was just a matter of, like I said, pre-deciding. So I just created a structure, a week-to-week structure that I would follow. I did get some help from Dr. Mike Russell. Gave me some ideas and some structure as far as caloric intake, and he's really good with recipes, especially with the smoothie thing,
right.
which I enjoyed. And it was just a matter of just locking in that process. And I didn't beat myself up in the first few weeks, right. Because what I did in those first couple of weeks was just locking in the process. So I didn't care about the caloric content. I was just executing the behaviors on a regular basis, and then they just got refined from week to week, because I think that people start off with this great enthusiasm.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Where energy is high because they're excited.
Yes.
And then they hit this wall like 3 or 4 days in where it's just like, oh, my energy is fluctuating. It doesn't matter if I have a little bit of ice cream or whatever. Right. And so you kind of fall off the wagon. And then once you fall off the wagon, you go, well, I might as well just throw caution to the wind and just,
go all out.
Yeah, exactly. And the next thing you know that you're off, and then you're starting over, which is fine. I mean, I think we all start over at some point in time, many times. But
yes.
But again, focus on the process is the way to go, and then the pre-decision thing
that's huge.
It's the monster in the room.
Yeah. I love it. So that kind of covers nutrition, at least as far as we're going to go with it today.
Yeah.
It's a pretty loaded topic, and I know there's entire podcasts that cover that. So another topic that I wanted to cover, and it fits under the umbrella of recovery, but sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I know you've dove into. I know it's something that I've dove into, and I'm passionate about as well. So if you get a PAT patient and you are working with them, and it is obvious there are things outside of these 4 walls that are impacting them, how do you go about having that discussion of sleep and the value of that with them?
It's very straightforward. You basically have to let them know that what the influences are in their outcome.
Right.
And again, it comes back to, at a foundational standpoint, it becomes decision making. So when you give someone activities to do at home, so typically with physical therapy, there are structured activities that they have to do in an attempt to restore movement options, or however you want to perceive that. But they have a life to live too,
right? Which
is draining.
Yes.
Right? So you come home from work, and sometimes the last thing you want to do is something physical.
Yeah.
And the reality is that they need to do these things to restore their movement options. And so the foundation of energy on every level is your ability to recoup, and sleep is number one.
Right.
And so again, sometimes you have to talk about these lifestyle factors, and sometimes you don't. Some people are really, really good about it. But then sometimes you have to have the talk.
Yes.
And so, but that you just ask the simple question, are you waking up rested? And most people are very honest, and they'll tell you yes or they'll tell you no. And then, like I said, you decide then whether you have to have that talk or not. And then if they don't have a high quality of sleep on a regular basis, then it just comes down to, okay, so what are some of the basic things that we need to cover? And they're very basic. I don't think that not everybody needs a sleep study. most of the time they just need some structure and some behaviors that lead them towards a better sleep quality.
Yeah. The thing that I'm constantly shocked by is people know they need to sleep more, right? Like if you're sleeping like 4 hours a night, that's not adequate. I know that's not enough.
Right.
But I think sometimes you really have to like connect the dots for them. In your case, maybe it's, you're not sleeping enough. That's impacting your pain sensitivity.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
With an athlete, it's like this is impacting your motor skill, your motor output, your ability to recover. This is why this nagging injury isn't going away.
Right.
And so a lot of times when you can relay it back to them and give them some context, I feel like that's super important versus just this blanket statement of, you got to sleep more. This is not enough. Like help them understand. It's just like training.
Right.
The reason we would prescribe a squat to a fat loss client is different versus somebody who wants to put on muscle or somebody who wants to be a better athlete.
Right.
It's finding that context.
Right. If you think about it as the equation, you have the resistance to stress plus your resilience to recover from stress, and that results in your ultimate performance.
Right.
And sleep impacts both. So it makes you more resistant to a stressor of any kind, whether it be psychological or physical, and it provides you that resilient element to bounce back from the stressor. And so, there's no question that when we talk about the big picture, that the sleep thing is huge.
Yes. And another thing that I think most people accept training, nutrition, and recovery, like those three. Right. But I think in my world, mindset is really huge. And there's a lot of ways you can interpret the word mindset too, right? Like how you view the world, that kind of mindset, meditation.
Right.
I know meditation is something that you take seriously.
Yes.
And I would love to learn, why did you get started in that? What drove you to that? Well, when did you start and why did you start?
A lot of it, so late 40s.
Okay.
It was kind of hit and miss though. And a lot of stuff fell into place when I did this 50-year-old thing. Yeah. And it's not that you have to wait for a special age or anything like that.
Sure.
But it was just a matter of structure. And again, the predecisions and creating a process. And again, goes back to self-regulation. So the decision-making processes, the capacity to stick to the pre-decided elements, and so what meditation does is it gives you that ability to recognize when you are off track.
Yes.
So that's what people don't realize. I think they think that meditation is kind of something else where you don't react, when the reality is you can't stop your brain from reacting to the environment or anything. But what the meditation does is it provides you that the big brother element where the prefrontal cortex can actually look at the situation and go, okay, we don't have to get all flipped out about this thing. And so the self-regulatory element is for me the most important part. In lowering your stress levels and recognizing that things aren't either as bad or as good as they may be, and it sort of just keeps you on this even keel.
Right.
And I would look at it as just as important as the exercise element.
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it took me a long time personally. I think there's levels of anxiety that run throughout my family. Mm-hmm. I never used that word growing up, but in my 30s I started to realize, no, this is a thing that I struggle with, and so for me, getting into it, I was like, this is something I feel like I need to do. I tried numerous different methods, none of which really stuck, and I think everybody goes through that, right? It's very much like exercise. You got to kind of find your thing. And it wasn't until Sandy San Miguel and I were buddies on Headspace. Right. And she's like, I love that you're doing this, but you're kind of inconsistent. Yeah.
Oh, she's following you?
Yeah.
Oh,
we were
that's
like
very
friends.
Cool.
We were friends.
I gotcha.
So we're still friends. Just I use Headspace, right?
So. Through Headspace.
Yes.
Through the app.
Through the app.
It's an app.
Yes.
Headspace. Yes.
So what that allowed me to do was, she said, look. My response to her was, well, look, there's somebody that don't have 10 minutes. And again, this is that thinking,
Yeah, don't say that.
Yeah, and she says, well, but they have 1-minute meditations. Okay. And it's that, minimum dose. If you don't have a minute, there's the saying in meditation: if you don't have 5 minutes, you need 20.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't have 5 minutes, you need to spend 20.
Right.
So that was my thought process. Was like, I'm just going to do this, and I put together a year straight. And so there were days there was 5 or 10 minutes. There were days it was 3. There were days it was 1.
But it was a
it's
daily
building
behavior.
the habit.
Absolutely.
And I think that's so important, and just kind of touching that base every day.
Yeah.
And it comes back to the whole Jerry Seinfeld, the whole chain.
Yeah.
And
Were you talking about writing?
Writing.
Yeah.
He writes a joke every day.
If you haven't seen the documentary, please watch the comedian documentary where Jerry Seinfeld talks about how this whole thing works.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's brilliant.
It's
It is
fascinating.
brilliant.
And
Yeah.
you wonder why he's successful.
Exactly.
You would say, oh,
exactly.
well,
He writes
just learns.
every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So are you still on the app then?
no. I stopped using the app. I went through, so I was working with Glenn this past summer, Robinson, and he went through the 4-day transcendental meditation. So if you know nothing about that, basically it's like a 4-day course.
Oh, yeah.
You go in, and like each day it's like a 90-minute session, and they teach you how to use.
Yeah, that just makes me love that guy all the more.
Yeah,
You know,
I know,
like,
right?
He's really looking for the edge, isn't he?
He is.
I love that.
He is.
I love that.
So, and he just raved about it, so I thought, I'm going to do it. So once everybody left, I went and did like the 4-day thing, because I needed obviously 4 days where I had 90 minutes to myself.
Right.
And so I've been doing that. So I really like that.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different, because
Yeah.
it's less guided. It's more just kind of,
I've had to dump the app.
Really?
It became it started to interrupt.
Oh, yes.
It started to interrupt
Yeah.
at that point. And again, so you start with the guided, and then you slowly move away from that, and then you start to recognize the fact that where I am right now, I don't need. And Andy,
Exactly.
Andy's the guy on Headspace. He's obviously brilliant, which and he's very soothing at first.
Yes.
But like I said, it starts to become an interruption now, because you start to anticipate or waiting for the voice.
Yes.
Rather than dealing with your stuff. So that's
Yes.
what people don't realize either, is that the stuff that comes and goes in your head is you dealing with your own issues and
processing them.
Yeah, exactly. But it's scary for people, because it brings up heavy stuff sometimes, like horrible regrets and past behaviors that you're not proud of. But that's where you deal with that stuff, and people don't realize that's how you get rid of it too.
Absolutely. Versus distracting yourself with your phone or the internet
1,000%.
or whatever else.
Yeah, because then it just drags on and on and on.
Absolutely.
Whereas when you're in meditation, and if you've ever sat down, so you've gone as long as 90 minutes?
I've never done 90 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
Highly recommend that you do at least an hour at some point in time of just being in your own head.
Okay.
Holy cow, it's scary in there.
Yeah.
But incredibly useful.
Yeah.
It's like the fastest way to dump anxieties and then past behaviors that you're not proud of, and regrets or ruminating thoughts that interfere with your ability to focus and concentrate. By far the most powerful thing I've ever done.
Yeah, love it.
Because it was hard to
I'm sure.
When it's hard to be there for that long, but secondly, stuff comes up.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's the most powerful way to get rid of it. And I am not afraid to say this, that I'm probably the happiest I've ever been. And that there's been some stuff that we've dealt with in the last 5 years that have not been good.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've had a lot of stuff to deal with. And so, but anyway, happiness follows.
Yeah. I think anybody could benefit.
Absolutely. But even starting with the 1 minute thing, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Just
every
building
day.
the habit.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So the final piece that I wanted to touch on was this concept of training, and not the way we would think about it, but strategizing and impacting our clients outside of the gym and getting them to simply move more. And I know this is something that you do in PT. You give homework.
Yep.
And in our space, if it's a gym pop client, like sometimes they don't want to come to the gym. I mean, we have people that drive 30 minutes or more to come and see us.
Yep.
They don't want to come here every single day. They might love us, but they don't want to do that. So some of the things that I would stress, if you are a trainer, if you're a coach, or you're just a client that wants to be more healthy, number one, get outside more.
Yep.
And this can be hard. It's not the greatest weather here right now, but this is something we actually started. We started it with Cade. So he's 6, and he is me to a T. in like every way possible. Not always awesome, but I'd like to think sometimes awesome, sometimes not. But this guy just has so much energy.
Yeah.
And it's very noticeable. And it's not like, and sounding old here, but it's not like how it was when we went to school, right? We had gym every day.
Right.
He has gym one day a week.
Oof.
You know, so this guy's got all this pent-up energy, he's sitting all day. So we instituted, I think it was in November, December, 15 minutes of outdoor time. Now, we morph that some days, because some days it's just miserable out, and we'll go in the basement and just do 15-minute indoor recess.
Yeah.
But it's shocking how much better his behavior is when we just get him to move more.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, so you think about it, the only comparison that I have right now is my dog.
Yeah.
But I have a Sheltie, which is an outside dog.
Yes.
And if he doesn't get outside time, if he doesn't get, something to burn up some energy and to chase around, then, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Then I have like this angry, anxious dog that won't shut up.
Yeah.
And while he's all of 19 pounds, he's very, very loud. But no, it's along the same lines. And so yeah, we have to use this energy too. So we talk about the recouping all the time, but the reality is we also have this pent up anxiety and this expression of behavior that is necessary.
Yeah.
For health.
Yes.
And again, just getting outside. So you can look at all the literature about that, as far as the beneficial effects that it has on your nervous system and your blood pressure, and every marker of the immune system benefits from. You can even look at pictures of nature, and it's actually beneficial.
Yeah.
That's how powerful
crazy.
it is. But to actually be outside is. And again, it's another element that is potentially life-changing.
Yeah, and the great thing about it is when we talk about using training as recovery, there's no wrong way to do it, right? It can be, I know you do like micro mobility workouts.
Every day.
It could be getting outdoors and going for a brisk walk. Mm-hmm. It could be finding your favorite form of cardio and doing 20 to 30 minutes of cardio on your off days. It could be yoga classes, right? Like, and we might, like, not yoga isn't the best fit for everybody, and I'm not picking on yoga, but you know what I mean.
There's yoga this weekend.
Yes, I know. I'm so excited. But like the bendy hypermobile person, maybe you direct them in a different path.
Right.
Like, find something that you enjoy doing that makes you want to move more.
Absolutely.
Like,
I do it a lot.
Yeah. Too often we just get focused on, I hate this, but I know I need to do it. Well, but you shouldn't hate it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? You won't stick with it.
Yeah. It's funny. You read about some of these most brilliant people in the world that have existed, and so some of the great philosophers and some of the most famous statesmen that we've had, or some of the most prolific writers that we have, and they all had one thing in common: is they all went for these ridiculously long walks every day at the same time of day. It's just funny. It's like you read this and it's like, wow, there's really something powerful about that. And if I can just share the element for me, and again, this goes back to when I did the transformation. It was just one of those behaviors that I sort of adopted, that I'm going to make sure that I get at least 2 of these really ridiculously long walks in every week. And so, and rain or shine, doesn't matter. I go out and walk through the puddles and stuff like that if I need to.
Right.
But no, and talk about, again, it's very meditative. In fact, you don't have to sit in a corner and do your meditation. You can actually do it while you walk. And so I encourage people that if they do adopt this kind of a behavior, turn off the music.
Yeah.
And just walk and spend some time in your head and enjoy it. It's very powerful when problem solving that gets stimulated while you're walking is unbelievable. Idea stimulation, creativity, all comes as a side benefit of just going out and being physically active on any level.
Yep.
So it's really powerful.
I love it. I'm excited because we get the dog here in like 2 weeks, man.
Wow,
so
this is going to be a big deal.
It's going to crank up the outdoor time for sure.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Might
be fun.
Crank up the training. It might decrease the sleep. I don't know. We'll figure out what's going on, right?
Well, there's responsibilities that come with it, right?
Yeah.
Just like, and I would offer, since I don't have children and you do, I would say that the dog is going to be a little bit less than the kids.
I hope so.
Just so you know.
I hope so.
But there is some stuff. that goes
Yes.
along with it. And you can train your kids too. So
I'm trying.
You know, that's well, but
Or they're training me.
You
That's
teach.
definitely-
Well, it's as they say, the dog actually trains you. So
Yes.
so there's certain behaviors that my dog has that instantly stimulated behavior in me. Right. He makes the right sound, I get up and I take him out. Or he does the right trick, and I say the same thing every time. So it's like the dog trains you as well as you train the dog.
That's
so
funny.
it'll be fun.
That's funny. Well, anyway, this was fantastic. Very good stuff. Today.
Yeah, this was fun. This was good. And thanks again to Jared Villafuerte for the Propel. Propel, pay attention.
Yes.
And
yeah, we'll be back soon with our next show. Right?
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
See you.